Hello everyone and welcome to the Adventures of Tordeken. This is part 1, the opening tutorial. We're going to be rolling a fresh toon. I'm going to be playing a dwarf fighter. He's going to have 2 focuses. He's going to be able to tank, but whenever he's soloing, usually he's going to be doing two-handed fighting. So we'll go ahead and pick dwarf, and these stats are going to have to be good for both tanking and two-weapon fighting. So we're going to put the strength up to 16 and the dex up to 16. The con can go up to 16 really cheap, so that leaves 2 points. Now, sometimes I'll put it up to 17, so I can get one more and get another hit point per level. But I'm going to put this one up to 10 intelligence. The reason that the strength and dex are going to be the same, going ahead and putting points in intimidate and jump. The points are going to be the same between strength and dexterity because of the oversized two-weapon fighting. We'll be getting to that later, so we're not going to be using weapon finesse. The feats are going to be toughness for tanking and two-weapon fighting. And that's the overall build I'm working with. And so I'm going to go ahead and customize real quick. I like to call my guys Tordeken or some sort of variation of Tordek. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and set up my options first. I don't like having the tutorial hints up because I don't really need it. I don't really want to be reading chat when I'm in a private instance. So we'll go ahead and start playing. The weapon I need to choose here, I'm a two-weapon fighter, but when I'm only going to get one weapon, I'm just going to breeze through this intro with a two-handed axe, and I'll go ahead and replace that later. To equip the axe, go ahead and hit I, brings up your inventory, and then you can go ahead and double-click the axe. The main reason I'm taking all these boxes out is because I want to make sure that I get all the Cure Light Wounds potions, because that's going to be important later on. I wasn't looting the money just because I was in a hurry, but you feel free to go ahead and loot the money because you're going to need it. A big aspect of having two-handed weapons is the fact that you get glancing blows. That's a mechanic they threw in for the MMO. It's not in the tabletop version. What a glancing blow does is it does damage to mobs that are near the one you're attacking. A little bit less damage than what you're actually dealing to the mob you're attacking. It's really nice for taking on more than one monster at a time. And later on we're going to be discussing one-handed weapons that do the same thing. So we're going to go ahead and climb up the ladder, we're going to go down, we're going to take out the sentry. What I like to do is go ahead and stealth up. When you see the one eye, that means you're really hidden. And I like to open up with a trip attack on him. I like to use my trip attack and my sunder. Those are really nice to have when you're soloing. In later enhancements, you can actually increase the difficulty of the save related to your sunder and trip attack and that kind of thing. The reason I stood next to the cleric there was because she was able to put her bless on me, and it gave me a +1 to attack. Note that in the intro, as the DM tells you, you're not going to die in the intro. You can take damage, so don't really worry about the damage. At this point, you wait, the NPC goes to the door, and then the sorcerer to your right opens up the water grate, and then you swim down, you get the key, quickly swim back up because you have to hold your breath. Here's the rest shrines. You're going to have to use those a lot of times, especially on harder difficulties. If you are a rogue, you have to go on ahead with Jeets so that you can figure out the trap finding aspect in this part. He goes ahead and does it if you're not a rogue. Since I was in a hurry, I went ahead and pulled the lever, but if you don't get there before the NPCs, don't worry, the sorcerer goes ahead and opens the lever. Now here we're going to take a look at what happens when you sunder. I think that's what it's called. It's the attack that I've got on number 2. It's where you lower their armor class, and they have to make a save. If you see that circle that just happened, that little silver circle that breaks, we'll see it again real quick, that means that they didn't save. Here's the circle, that means they didn't save and their armor class has been lowered, making them easier to hit. And that big white circle was the bless from the cleric, gives you a +1 to hit. If they save on a trip attack or anything like that requires a save, then you'll go ahead and see the word save over their head. But if you see that animation, then that means they didn't save. Going ahead and equipping the equipment here, anything that you get in the intro you're not going to be able to sell, so those rags there we're going to have to drag out later and get rid of. So I have the axe, I have the bow, I have the arrows equipped, and then if you drag a weapon to the green boxes there and then drag the green box down, whatever you have in the green box will be down on the bar. I also went ahead and dragged down the ring of water breathing down to the bar, because there's going to be some quests later where you're going to have to use that. I just opened my character sheet. That's if you hit C, and you can take a look at your stats. Now here we're not going to get a two-handed axe. We are actually going to grab a longsword. A rapier is what you would use for dual wielding if you were a dex-based build with weapon finesse, but we're going to be a strength-based build. You have to have your dexterity a certain score. 16 is what we chose, simply because it's required for the feats that we're taking. But since we're not using weapon finesse, we're using greater two-weapon fighting later on that weapon finesse will not benefit from. Then we went ahead and grabbed the longsword instead of the rapier, and then we will not have a hard time getting an offhand weapon. So that's it for the part 1 of the tutorial. That was the intro. Part 2, we're going to go ahead and hit up Korthos Village.